Certain New Age advocates believe that collectively speaking, Shambhala, Telos, and quite a few other subterranean cities such as Posid, located beneath the Mato Grosso Plains region of Brazil, Shanch, hidden high in the Himalayas, Rama, located near Jaipur, India, and Xinhua, situated on the border of Mongolia and China, are all interconnected by subterranean tunnels to form what they refer to as the Agharta network. The primary entrance to this inner world is said to be in the Gobi Desert located in the Mongolian People's Republic. According to Olaf Jansson, Agharta is supposedly comprised of 3/4 land, and 1/4 water. In The Smoky God, Emerson states that Jansson told him that he was informed that the place he and his father visited was called Shamabala the Lesser. While this concept of the hollow earth theory is given a deceptive New Age appearance, it is nothing but cleverly disguised Hinduism and Buddhism through and through. While doing the research for this article, I discovered that one belief held by some of these Oriental religions is that life on the surface of a planet is viewed as an aberration from the norm. In other words, these people believe that within every solar system, only one planet is permitted to have life on its surface, while all of the others are teeming with life within, illuminated by their inner sun. It is because of this deceptive doctrine that many New Agers believe that the other planets within our solar system are full of life. Said in another way, as long as a planet has an inner sun, it doesn't matter if it is located in the depths of cold dark space, it will still possess a thriving community within. Thus, human life on Earth is reduced from being a divine miracle in which God is glorified, to being an everyday occurrence. In fact, it discredits God even more than this. In the case of our solar system, Earth is the one planet which has been chosen to serve as a type of schoolroom to teach other beings the vanity of war and other acts of violence. In other words, the outer surfaces of planets are reserved for those who are not yet spiritually enlightened. Thus, in accordance with this deceptive philosophy, the inhabitants of Agharta view us surface dwellers as complete barbarians. This belief further states that it is only when the surface dwellers are at the point of self-destruction, that the inhabitants of the inner world will come out, led by their king of the world, in order to offer us their assistance, and to help us to pick up the pieces. This is precisely the philosophy that we see in BYRD's diary, and it is the very same philosophy that we see in Lost Horizon as well. If these ideas of king ascending from the inner world don't bother you, allow me to inform you that, as a Christian, there is only one king that I am aware of who is destined to ascend out of the depths of the earth, and he certainly is not a benign one, and they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon. Revelation 9:11. The beast that thou sawest was, and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition, and they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was, and is not, and yet is. Revelation 17:8. Contrary to what is erroneously taught by New Age thought, gurus and Eastern monks, this king of the world is not our friend. Neither will he come in order to restore peace to the world. In fact, as I explain in my series The Seven Heads, based on the English translation of these two words, he will be the destroyer of the world, because Abaddon and Apollyon mean destruction and destroyer. Some time ago, I was interested in obtaining a scriptural answer concerning what truly lies within the earth. The result of my research is a very in-depth article entitled Hell and the Lake of Fire. As I have just pointed out, while I indeed believe that the inside of the earth is populated, it is not with a benign race of technologically advanced humans who use flying discs as their means of transportation, but rather with beings of an entirely different nature. There is no benign master as is claimed by the purported extracts from the diary of Admiral Richard E. Byrd. Rather than believe in these vain imaginations of so-called New Age science, I encourage you to read this article so that you can obtain a very clear understanding of exactly what the Bible tells us is in the bowels of the earth. To continue to believe these silly theories put forth by vain men is to accept the lies of what the Apostle Paul refers to as science, or knowledge, falsely so called. O Timothy, keep that which is committed to thy trust, avoiding profane and vain babblings, and oppositions of science falsely so called. 1 Timothy 6:20. The word science in the previous verse is actually referring to false knowledge. It is derived from the Greek word gnosis, pronounced gnosis, from which we derive the English word Gnosticism. Gnosticism is a false belief system which asserts that salvation is derived through the obtainment of spiritual knowledge, rather than through faith in Jesus Christ. In a sense, secular humanism and New Age thought teach the very same thing, because they too emphasize that man's salvation comes not through God and the sacrifice of his Son Jesus Christ, but rather through the work of his own hands, by increasing his spiritual knowledge and awareness, and by improving his science. Man believes that he can be his own savior. The grave danger which exists here is that the spiritual knowledge currently being espoused by New Age thought advocates is false knowledge. It is nothing but utter lies. By this time, it should be rather clear to you that this whole story of Admiral Byrd and the hollow earth theory is nothing more than a terrible demonic deception, and it is one of the worst kind, because those who have been caught up in it can't even begin to realize the depth of the deceit or the extreme spiritual danger that these things represent. What is worse, is that many people who consider themselves to be Christians, including certain prominent Christian leaders, have been totally taken in by this demonic lie. The way Satan has accomplished this is quite remarkable. It is a plan which he and his human cohorts have been working on for a very long time. Believe it or not, it was in the very same year that Admiral Richard D. Byrd is said to have entered the previous notes into his personal diary, that is, in 1947, that a certain worldwide ecclesiastical organization came into being. This organization is the WCC, that is, the World Council of Churches. Oddly enough, it was also in that year that the UFO phenomenon took off on a flying start with the Roswell incident and the Washington state flyovers. In order for you to understand this, it is important that you remember that it was in the previous decade that James Hilton wrote Lost Horizon, which only a few years later was released as a movie. Now let me ask you, what was one of the primary themes of the 1973 movie? The answer is peaceful coexistence through moderation. Exactly how was it achieved in the movie? Earlier I mentioned that the philosophy of Shangri-La was a combination of Christian and Buddhist beliefs. In other words, it was a humanism, the very same goal which is currently being espoused by none other than the World Council of Churches. The whole goal of ecumenism is to create a one-world religion. It isn't just to teach people to respect the different religious beliefs of their neighbors, but rather it is to eventually take the best of each religion, and to unite them into one super-religion, which will be acceptable to everyone in a one-world family, under a one-world government, run by none other than the king of the world himself, the beast. While I don't know what inspired and motivated James Hilton to write his novel, whether he intended for it to happen or not, it appears that his work has been used in both book form, as well as in movie form, to slowly brainwash people over the past 60 years, so that they will accept what is coming ahead. The true spirit of Shangri-La is the spirit of ecumenism and one-worldism. It is the dream of a utopian society partially brought about through what is currently being propagandized as religious tolerance and religious unity. This is quite evident by recent gatherings of both Christian and non-Christian spiritual leaders, such as the Dalai Lama, one of the central figures in Lost Horizon. What these foolish compromising Christian leaders don't realize is that through their actions, they are weakening the very foundation of our Christian heritage, just like the New Age thought advocates who view Jesus as Sananda, one of many ascended masters. These so-called Christian shepherds are helping to slowly strip Jesus of his divinity and unique status as the only begotten Son of God. Furthermore, what none of these people realize is that while religious unity may currently appear to be the final goal, it is all one demonic lie, for the scriptures clearly tell us that in the end, the king of the world is going to want to be worshipped as God himself. And the king shall do according to his will, and he shall exalt himself, and magnify himself above every god, and shall speak marvelous things against the God of gods, and shall prosper till the indignation be accomplished, for that is determined shall be done. Daniel 11:36. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that they shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. 2 Thessalonians 2:3-4. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword, and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship to the image of the beast should be killed. Revelation 13:13-15. This is precisely where all of these things are headed. As I state in other articles, such as the International Jew and the Protocols of Zion, the controllers are currently using every means at their disposal, whether it be through books, public education, the music and film industries, mass media, television, the internet, etc., to slowly brainwash people, so that they will accept the deceptive system which will soon be forced upon them. In order to achieve their goals, the controllers must first totally destroy Christianity, because it is the biggest obstacle in their path to world dominion. This is because it teaches faith in the one true God, who is untouchable in the heavenlies, and not faith in some human or subterranean demon god called the King of the World who resides in Shambhala, Agharta. For these workers of darkness to succeed in their evil pursuits, we Christians must either be stripped of our faith, or else be totally eliminated. Eventually, and perhaps very soon, this is precisely what may happen. As I point out in other articles such as civil disobedience and Christian persecution, the time is coming when we will be hated by all men because of our unwillingness to forsake our faith in the one true God, while others will compromise their faith and gladly accept the new one-world religion in order to save their skins. We must do no such thing. We must not receive the mark of the beast, or worship his image. The period known as the Great Tribulation will indeed try, or test,